Today I have the most massive news to share with you all. I'm pregnant. Cut that. No, we're talking about relics and the future of progression, aka relics, ascension, and 7 stars. And, I'm not 100% sold on everything here. However, let me recreate my actual reaction. I'm not joking when I do this. Yeah! That was how I felt when I saw one thing in particular, because some of you may remember long time ago, back in 2017, look at this, this is over 5 years ago at this point, I came up with a relic item system concept, because kabam, they actually had an item system in a different version of MCOC that never saw the light of day in, actual MCOC that we all play today. And this is actually what they have, which is quite a bit different than the concept that I came up with, but something that is still just so damn exciting to me. And if this system was here last year, well, I'd still be in an alliance today. Now, some of the stuff on screen here, it's going to be a little bit confusing, but don't worry, class is in session. We're going to break it all down, starting with the highlighted objects here. These are called sockets. So if you notice, they have a little bit different shape to them. We have two different shapes. Well, first off, there's the actual Venom relic at the top of the screen there on the the left side, and then right below that we have a hexagon shape, and then we have two triangular shapes. So what does all that stuff mean? Well, starting with Venom at the top of the screen there, this is the actual relic itself. I mean, you could see Venom front and center. It looks like a statue or a trophy. That is the actual relic. Now, it's also a striker. This is a Venom battle cast. Battle cast basically just means, yeah, you get to use that character as a striker, similar to how we had in the side quest previously, except this is going to be more than just used in side quests. We're going to get to exactly where you can and cannot use these relics, or especially the strikers, later on. Okay, moving on though. Actually, before we move on, a couple more things. I have some notes at the bottom of the screen there. So what he actually does is inflict a bleed vulnerability debuff, increasing the potency of future bleed effects by X% for X seconds. So those values will change. I'm not even sure if they're set in stone yet. They probably are, but I don't know the exact values. This is kind of the only info we have to go by in this screenshot here. And then this is very important to note that this is for cosmic champions only. Now, of course, there's going to be relics for all class types, but this one is designed specifically for the cosmic class. And because it's a Venom, it is designed with symbiotes in mind, as we're going to see in a little bit here. Now, you may also have noticed that there are stars on this character here. There are 5 stars, and in this screenshot, they are silver or platinum, whatever you want to call them. I like to call them silver just because it rolls off the tongue, the silver stars. That means that this relic is awakened. Yes, this is actually a thing. This is not just speculation. Relics have awakened abilities. And just like duplicating a champion, you can duplicate your relic and power it up that way. So that creates what's called an innate ability. Innate, instead of the awakened ability, the innate ability. So in this case, the innate ability is Symbiotic Bond, which says, for each active unique buff on the champion, inflict an indefinite bleed vulnerability debuff, increasing the potency of future bleed effects by X%. So you can see this relic is really just ramping up bleed potential, which, of course, a lot of symbiotes have. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how much power this adds, but I'm willing to bet quite a bit. Okay, let's move on. So I'm actually going to skip one down in the sockets, and we're going to move on to the triangular socket there, which this is basically just a little bit of an attribute boost. You can see my notes there at the bottom of the screen. It's for Fury, Precision, Cruelty, Potency. It just raises those potencies by a little bit. And then you also have the ability to increase bleed potency, and then further down, the third attribute noted there, this one is much more unique and actually says minus X% mutation buff duration and cooking meter charge time. So, or timer. So what does that mean? Well, certain characters of the symbiote class here, Venompool, we're going to take a look at. He actually, the way he works is he has this cooking meter, right? And what the cooking meter does, essentially, it powers them up, all right? That's all you need to know. We're not going to get into the details. And you gain these charges every 5 seconds. So, if you have that attribute, it actually will make it so that you gain those charges more rapidly. It's going to lower the time between charge gains. So that way, a champion like Venompool that takes a little bit of ramping will ramp that much faster, further amplifying the power that your champions have. Now, the thing is, these are options. These are choices that you're going to be making, that you can, take these relics and insert them, or I'm sorry, these are runes, actually. We could see they're called runes. Sorry, I'm still getting a little bit used to this myself. So you can take these runes and insert them into the sockets of the relics. And of course, the shapes have to match. So, these triangular ones that just change the attributes of your champions a bit, they have to go into the triangular slots. Then, let's go back to the hexagon shape up here. This is called an ability socket. So again, these are it's you're gonna have different ability runes, and you can see two examples right to the left of my face. As a matter of fact, my face is covering it a little bit. Let's go ahead and slide me out of the way a tiny bit. So there are two different ability examples here, but you notice we only have one ability slot. So let's go ahead and just quickly read through the two different abilities that we have, the options to use. One is for each unique buff on the champion, bleed debuffs inflicted by hits landed against a bleeding opponent gain extra duration and ability accuracy. The next one, for each unique buff on the champion, hits landed against the bleeding opponent gain increased crit damage rating and increased crit chance. So you can kind of customize your character here a little bit to either just increase your raw crit damage or that bleed damage. You have the option, and this is the stuff that I love, man, because this is not just some automatic thing that you gain. The game is not deciding for you exactly what to do. It hopefully it's not overwhelming to people, and there'll be plenty of guides on what's best to do and stuff like that. But you can see here, either route you go, you're increasing your damage. You're not really going to be making a mistake. It's just that you now have the option to, add more damage to your bleed or add more damage to your critical hits. So a little bit similar to how masteries work in that regard. And one more thing that I should note about these sockets here is that there's a reason why on the right side of the screen, let's see if we can get back to where I had that highlighted. There we go. You can see on the right side of the screen, it shows those shapes, right? Obviously it shows on the left side too, but there's a reason why it shows on the right side of the screen, because you can have relics that have more than one ability socket. From what the devs have said to when I asked, like, how can this do these change based on anything, they basically said the general rule of thumb is that it's based on the rarity of the relic itself, meaning the star level. So you can see here that this is a 5-star Venom relic. I'm guessing that a 6-star Venom relic will maybe have either another attribute slot or maybe another ability slot. I'm not exactly sure. Those details don't exactly have just yet, but they can actually change. And the higher star level your relic that's going to attach to your higher star level champions, they will have different numbers of those sockets, different just a different makeup of those sockets that you can fill out in different ways. Going back to this slide here where we're highlighting the ability runes, you can also see that they have levels to them. So this is a level 50 rune, which appears to be the max level. I'm not 100% sure how to, gain levels on these runes. I think duplicating the relic is what increases the innate ability, so essentially the awaken ability of the relic. I'm not sure if that also is what increases the rune, or if that's going to require ISO or gold. I'm not exactly sure. All I know is that they do have levels, and of course, just like anything that has levels, it'll start out weaker, and over time, you'll be able to power it up and really fully unlock the full potential of the relic here. All right, what about the cost though? So you could see on the right side of the screen, the bottom right corner of that screenshot, where you can, it shows the binding status, and you can select the champion to bind a relic to. Now, you can also unbind the relics and then rebind it to a different champion, and that will sort of have a cost, but also sort of not. So you can see the table, the white table that I have, right below the screenshot there. It shows the cost to unbind, that relic from a champion, and for a while, it's totally free. It doesn't cost any units. And then the notes below that, I'm just going to read it out. It says, the cost of unbinding begins as free. However, frequent unbinding may cause the player to incur unit costs. Every time the player unbinds a relic from a champion, the cost step associated with their next unbinding action will increase by 1. Every 5 days, the cost step is reduced by 1. So this will be completely free to move your relics around from champion to champion, as long as you're not doing it very frequently. You'll be able to try and experiment and all that good stuff, and it's not gonna have a cost. The only reason I think the cost is there is to encourage you to collect more and more relics. That way, you're not just having one relic that's powered up and then you just move it between every single one of your characters. Now you actually have to collect other ones. That way, once you find like a good fit for your relic, you plop it into that champion, you get a new relic, you power that up for a different champ, sort of thing. And until your collection of relics grow, at least you do have this way to maneuver around the relics. That's what I think that kind of indicates there. That is not words from Kabam's mouth. That is my own speculation a bit. But yeah, so that's the cost of it all. Okay, so where can you actually use these relics? So actually, there's just some other generalized notes before we get into where to use them. First off, prestige. A lot of you guys saw the in-game prestige button. Those screenshots floated around. That was very real. The update here is that your account's prestige will now be a combination of the base rating of your top 5 champions and your top 5 relics, regardless of who they're bound to. So, hard to exactly comment on this, just because we don't know exactly how to get relics just yet. We know that they're going to be part of, battleground rewards and stuff like that. Is there going to be a high price tag on these relics? I don't know. Are there going to be relics that are not that powerful, but they have higher prestige the way that champions do? I don't know. I feel like it's prestige exactly as we know it today, but now we're just adding relics into the mix, and along with that comes the good and the bad of the prestige system. So it's kind of an extension of that. All right, usability. So battle casts can only be used on attackers, but we are looking into new relic types in the future that specialize in defense or special attacks. So battle cast, that's the type of relic that has a striker attached to it. So there might be relics in the future that do not have strikers attached, and then, like it says here, they'll be specialized in defense as well, or special attacks, stuff like that. So for now, they are all going to have strikers, but in the future, possibly not. And then availability. So relics will be usable in some game modes at launch as we gather data on how they impact game balance. We want to roll relics out across all game modes as soon as we can and want to make sure it's done in a balanced way. And look for more information on expanding where you can use your relics in the months following their release. For now, relics will be usable in arenas, battlegrounds, incursions, monthly event quests, side quests, Realm of Legends, and Labyrinth of Legends. Relics will not be usable in Alliance Quest, Alliance Wars, back issues, Abyss of Legends, and story quests. And I feel like this is pretty good. Maybe it would be kind of cool to maybe even limit the use of relics in some of these areas like permanently, but they do say that they're eventually going to have relics everywhere, so we'll see how that process goes. Okay, speaking of process, the last note here about relics is the balance process. All relics are subject to balance changes in the future and will be on a more consistent balancing cadence. After 3 months, we will assess the relic's data, and then the relic will be open to rebalance in any month following that. So, yeah, I mean, fair warning. I know, the idea of rebalancing stuff really rubs people the wrong way sometimes. But that's it, man. These relics will be open and subject to rebalancing. For now, that's it about relics. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my breakdown of this screen here. And yeah, we can continue talking about that in tonight's live stream. Next subject, I'm sure we're going to be talking about on the live stream tonight for sure, which is 7 stars and ascension. So 7-star champions, I mean, we kind of know what that is, but let's read this here anyway. It says, the future progression in the contest is not limited to relics, though they will be the first for players to acquire. While relics focus on expanding the abilities and RPG elements of your champions, future rarities and ascension will focus on increasing top end of power. The details of 7 stars and ascension are still being worked out, and they won't launch until sometime next year. But we wanted to share these all with you at once to give you a better look at the whole picture of progression and not just one aspect. So again, this stuff is coming next year. So we have some time before 7 stars still. But yeah, they are coming. All right, so 7 stars. As with the rarities before them, 7 stars will be able to reach new heights for health and attack and represents the absolute top end of what a champion can be in the contest. They'll also have new gameplay mechanics similar to how 6-star champions brought adrenaline to the contest. We're still putting the final touches on the mechanics, and we'll share more details at a later date. 7 stars will first appear as opponents in our November content, then be available for collection later in spring 2023. Okay, so a little bit more specific than just next year. We're talking about spring of next year. Something that is very important to us with the addition of this new rarity is to ensure that we're respecting the existing rosters that players have built. We know that the addition of 7 stars means restarting players' search for many of their favorite champions, so in addition to a new rarity, we're also adding a brand new mechanic called Ascension. That extends the longevity of not only your 6-star champions, but your 4 and 5-star champions as well. It's kind of interesting that Ascension is not just for the current top end, but 4 and 5 stars as well. All right, so 7 stars starting in November with the release of 37.0. You can start collecting 7-star shards whenever you collect a duplicate of a 6-star champion. This is big. Starting in November. Let me read that again. You can start getting 7-star shards when duplicating a 6-star champion. You might want to hold on to your 6 stars. Oh man, I think I'm going to be doing that myself. All right, let me see here. You won't be able to use those shards until 7-star crystals become available next year. So you can get the shards starting in November, can't use them, but by the time we can actually pop open the crystals, hey man, maybe we'll have a few 7 stars just ready to go. All right, you will need to update to get the 7 stars, though. Make sure you do that, of course. Okay, so Ascension. They put it in big, bold letters here. Ascension is all about respecting the roster that you've created. To help players reach the point where they can begin building out their collection of relics and 7-star champions, we're also going to be introducing a new champion Ascension system. Ascension allows players to perform additional limit break rank ups on 4 to 6-star champions. This gives the most active summoners the ability to increase the overall power of their roster. Ascension will give 6-star champions enough of a power boost that their strength will be comparable to 7 stars and gives players plenty of time to build their 7-star roster before making the move to using them more extensively. If there's anything you take away from this post, it's that we're extending the longevity of your 6-star roster and empowering 5 and 4-star champions for summoners who are battling their way towards the heights of Act 7 and 8. The tuning and details on Ascension are still being worked on, but stay tuned. We'll share more information with you as soon as we're ready. All right, so why all three? One of the ideas we've seen floating around the community is that relics would replace 7 stars, or that 7 stars wouldn't be coming for a while if relics are, because relics would offer the stats advantage that 7 stars have over 6 stars. Relics are designed to be all about enhancing RPG elements on champions, and it's important to us that they have the flexibility to do that. Again, kind of going back to, let's see here, going back to kind of these slides right here, where, yeah, you get to kind of choose your ability rather than just having an automatic stat bump, or, you know, again, choosing which attributes to increase rather than just being assigned. So, yeah, that's what this is referring to, where, you know, increasing a rank or star level automatic, relics, our choice. In MCOC, additional rarities are where we boost the stats of champions, adding more attack and health. 7 stars will offer that, extending the life of the contest and providing players with even more powerful champions to tackle existing challenges. Ascension is a new concept to the game, designed to elongate the life of a summoner's existing roster, as well as provide power boost to summoners who are working towards the end game, but feel they're stuck waiting for their next rank up to progress. When we released 6-star champions a few years ago, players told us that the shift felt abrupt and like a roster reset. This time we wanted to make sure that we're respecting your existing roster and want to give you a way to continue using your existing champions while you start to collect and rank your 7-star champions. By offering summoners a path to further powering up their existing top champions with Relics and Ascension, we're giving you a way to keep playing with your existing roster and content that is more geared towards higher rarity champions, even if you don't have many yet. Then being able to shift that relic power up to your 7-star roster as it builds up in the future. Okay, so yeah, there's a ton going on here, man. An absolute ton. I kind of just want to go back to this screen while talking about 7 stars and Ascension and all that. So first off, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this because there's a lot to digest here. As far as relics go, I am 99.9% on board. The last little 0.1% there is that I don't necessarily want to use strikers in all forms of content. It feels like a major shift to the gameplay. And while cool, I kind of like for that shift to exist, maybe not universally across the board. So I'm looking forward to seeing if the other relics can match up to strikers. Once they add those, the other relics that they kind of teased. But for now, at the start at least, they're all going to be strikers, and strikers are exceptionally powerful. And in order to compete with that power, like, dude, the relics that you know kind of go head to head with them for that relic slot of your champion, they're going to have to be super strong too. So yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like it is introducing that striker button semi-permanently as part of gameplay, which again, cool, but I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to play around with it some more before I really decide, like, oh, okay, yeah, this is completely awesome or not. So I'll see. Okay, so next, but yeah, relics, very excited about. Next, 7-star champions. Here's the thing about 7-star champions. I have a little bit of a different perspective from maybe a lot of the endgame players. So what I hear pretty often from endgame players that have a super strong roster of 6 stars is they feel like they are going to lose the investment that they made in their 6-star rosters. And investment, it's an interesting word that can mean, you know, gold, ISO, catalyst, or it could mean money. And the thing is, if you're free to play in this game, well, you haven't invested any money. So this is just like a new ceiling of champions to get. If I had spent a bunch of money on my champions, I may feel differently. So yeah, I want to hear all different perspectives on this. But as like the free to play perspective, it's like, okay, cool. There's just a higher power that we can get. Kind of flipping things around though, it's not all just, you know, gravy for the free to play players either. Because when it came to 6-star champions, you know, being released, it felt like we can all get 6-star champions, but it felt like even though I can get 6 stars, I wasn't really able to unlock their potential. So in a way, it almost felt like 6 stars were sort of the premium level of champions that, yeah, if you spend some money, you can really unlock their full potential. And by full potential, I guess I just mean sig stones. Without the use of sig stones, I was stuck in 5 star land forever, pretty much. Like today it's different, but it took several years post 6 star release for me to even have 5 champions that could cover prestige, let alone all the other areas of the game. It took many years for that to happen. And at that point, I felt like I was just so deep in the quicksand that, yeah, I mean, I kind of just got out. And hey, man, that's why I'm not in an alliance today, or that's part of the reason why I'm not in an alliance today. It felt like I was barely treading water while I had weights attached to my feet as I was sinking at the bottom of the ocean. You know what I mean? Like, and the whole thing about ascension, it feels like that's kind of being like a bone being thrown to the players that maybe won't have the ability to fully utilize the 7 star roster, even though everyone's going to be able to get 7 star shards. That is a concern of mine, is that the ascension is like, okay, listen, the gap between 6 stars and 7 stars, it's not going to be that extreme. It's not going to be as large as it was before. And hey, you can still make use of your 6 stars. But I'd want to play with the 7 stars too if everyone else is, like if we go back in time and we look at it from the 5 and 6 star perspective, if someone saw the issues that I was having and they were like, well, okay, but now we're going to allow you to enhance, further enhance and ascend your 5 stars, and they'll at least be closer in power to the alliance mates that you're playing with, and they're 6 star champions, I would just be scratching my head and be like, well, can I just play with my 6 star champs instead? So, it's a concern of mine. I'm not saying that this is what Kabam has intended with this system. All I'm expressing is that it's a concern of mine that, the ascension system, it's cool because it does allow us to continue, powering up our 6 star champions and stuff like that. And yes, it will make the transition a lot more seamless between 6 stars and 7 stars. It's just that the 7 stars, they're just going to have a higher ceiling to eventually reach. But I hope that regardless of whether you're spending money or not spending money, I hope that you're still going to be able to work towards powering up the 7 stars. Of course, there's always going to be a monetary advantage and stuff like that. Otherwise, what's the point of spending money at all? So that's okay. Having like an advantage there is okay. But years going by before really feeling like I could actually play with the 6 star champs, well, that was just boring, to be honest. It wasn't very interesting. It wasn't very fun at all. And I was doing everything possible at the time. Again, today, not so much. Today, much more relaxed, much more casual. But at the time, I was participating in the same Tier 1 Alliance wars as my Alliance mates, running the same AQ maps, beating all the other content, all that other stuff. And it was like everyone else in the Alliance was able to use their 6 stars. I was not. You know what I mean? So it felt like that was kind of the difference. And I hope that is not what part of this system was designed for. I do believe exactly what was put in the post, that like, yeah, they don't want the transition to be an abrupt one. They don't want to make players feel like they're starting their rosters over, all that good stuff. And like I said, that part's great. It's just, I can also see this affecting the way that they sort of divide free-to-play players and players willing to spend some money. So I hope that's not the case. We'll have to see. I don't know. That's kind of it for my initial thoughts. I don't want this video to go on for too long. So yeah, we're definitely going to discuss all that stuff on the live stream tonight. If you're going to be there, awesome. Let's talk about it. If not, put how you feel in the comments. And yeah, we can have a collection of thoughts in the comments down there as well. So that's it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.